Welcome to another wonderful day again. It is Outnumbered live on your screen. How was your weekend? I have a very wonderful weekend, of course. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and I have my colleagues in the studio this morning. Good morning, Anthony and Wokolo.
Good morning, Ramsey.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was fine. I wanted to ask you first, but my weekend was beautiful.
The way you're looking, it's obvious that the weekend was very well.
Yes.
Hey, he's so focused. Good morning, Christopher.
Good morning.
How was your rest?
Fine. Just that some people are so, I don't know how the adjective to use on them. They only call it to say, how are you? They can't even say, come and eat rice.
Come and eat rice?
Yes, even though it was...
Where is the rice? I thought they said there's no rice anyway.
There's no rice. Rice is over 70,000 now.
They always know the price. All right, let's quickly bring you to speed with the headlines that we have for the day. And the first headline today is the Daily Trust newspaper. From the Daily Trust newspaper, I will begin with the big story for today, which is that Qatar Backtracks hosts Nigeria Business Forum. We earlier heard it was not going to hold again. I think we'll talk more about that later, and the details of that you can get on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Then moving away from there to the next headline, Nigerians and northern senators welcome ECOWAS lifting of sanctions. You remember what happened during the coup in Niger, of course, and the sanctions that came. But then the sanction has been lifted, and Nigerians and, of course, northern senators, that caught my fancy anyway, welcome ECOWAS lifting of sanction. Details of that you can also get on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Hardship. NLC mobilizes for protest despite federal government's warning. You are aware of the warning. If this happened, if that happened, if this, but then NLC have said, well, no going back. We will embark on this protest because the hardship is getting serious on a daily basis. And finally, from here, Nigeria reaping the benefits of reform. What reform is that? Well, that's all from the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Let's quickly move to the next paper, which is going to be coming from Christopher.
All right, from the Tribune. Article to Tinubu, adopt Argentina's economic recovery initiatives to stabilize the economy. Economic hardship. NLC accuses FG of plans to attack peace rallies as Falana writes FG. Says labor protest constitutional. MBF CUPP LP falls INEC on integrity of 2023 general election. Tinubu sets up economic advisory committee, meets with Dangote, Elumelu, Rabiu, and the rest of others. And the big story on the Tribune this morning is economics dissects Nigerians' problems, profiles solutions. That will be the size of the review from the Tribune newspaper this morning. Over to you, Antonia.
All right. On the Leadership newspaper, CBN pegs purchase of dollars in cash at $500. We hope this stabilizes the naira. And you can get details of that story on page 23 of the Leadership newspaper. The next headline we'll be taking: Tinubu meets stakeholders, sets up team on economic crisis. I think this is the right strategy. This is something the government ought to have done a long time ago, but thank God they're thinking in this direction. You can get details of that story from page 30 of the Leadership newspaper. And finally, on the Leadership newspaper, we'll take the big story: 5.108 trillion naira in 8 months. Hardship unabated in states despite huge allocations. Now, the writer to that story: Labour warns federal government against attack on protesters. You can get the details of this story from page 4 of the Leadership newspaper. And that's it from the Leadership newspaper.
From the Leadership, let's quickly move to the Vanguard and see what we have from the Vanguard this morning. And of course, Vanguard is going to be our last review for today. Above the header, I have this headline which says Edo Guba, 15 men, 1 woman, angling to succeed Obasike. Then this one says a forest crisis, clamp down on BDCs will worsen situation. This is coming from the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, talking about Peter Obi. Then this one says Anti-hardship rally. Falana writes AGF seeks protection for NLC protesters. And the details of that you can actually get on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. And that takes me to the big story from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Is actually big. Job losses, factory closure loom as unsold goods pile up. This is coming from MAN, that is the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. Then I have some riders to that story. The first rider says that Naira plunges 254% in 8 months. Another rider says existence of MSMEs further threatened. Asbon is the one saying that. Then from the central bank, I have this last rider which says CBN should adopt managed flotation of Naira. That's coming from CPPE. And the details of that you can get on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper. And that's going to be the size of the review this morning. We want to go on a quick break. You can actually get to the vendor, pick any of these papers and go through any of the headlines that catches your fancy. After this break, I beg your pardon, we'll return back for the big story and we will let you in on the conversation too. That's going to be done via the comment from the comment section of the channel. My name is Ramsey and it's been Antonia and of course Christopher. We will be back after this break.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleke.tv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back from that break. Is still outnumbered live on your screen with Ramsey, Antonia, and Christopher. We told you on return it's going to be all about the big story. And someone was wondering, what could this big story be? Because anytime we tell you it's a big story on Outnumbered, it's actually a big story. Let's quickly get to the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. While I was taking the headline, I said something about Qatar. Backtracks host Nigeria Business Forum. Someone may be wondering, was there a move for a business forum in the first place? Let's quickly look at details of that story so that I can bring you to speed with what it's all about. As a matter of fact, the Qatari government has withdrawn its earlier decision to decline the request of the Nigerian government to hold a business and investment forum, that is BIF, when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu visited the country in March. And as a matter of fact, there was a memo that actually came out, first of all, that Qatar said, well, they are not ready for this summit, and they advanced reasons why they were not really going to be taking the time out to host this summit, even if the president is actually visiting Qatar. An earlier leaked memo from the embassy addressed to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs dated February 22nd, 2024, had rejected the request of Nigeria to have the BIF with Qatar, stating that the Arabian country had no running business agreement with Nigeria. We don't have any business with you. Nothing is on ground. There was nothing. How comes you say you want to have a summit and all of that? Well, so many questions will come to your mind. What would this do to the integrity of a nation like Nigeria? Secondly, how did this memo leak to the public in the first place? All right. Then why is Qatar backtracking? Why are they withdrawing? Okay, the earlier refusal to say, well, we are not doing this. We are not doing this. These are some of the questions. You remember what happened when Ngalale came up when the president assumed office, his first visit, all right, to the United Arab Emirates. They said, well, Emirates suspension has been lifted, all right. That was what we heard from Ngalale. But then they came up to say, well, nothing like that. And up till now, it stands. Now, this one is coming from Qatar. But, well, they've retracted. They are saying, okay, no problem, let it hold. Why was the refusal in the first place? All right. Then, how did this letter actually leak to the public. My colleagues will add their voice to the conversation right now because, number one, the integrity of Nigerian is at stake with this because the information has leaked on the internet and it has gone viral already. And these are some of the reasons why sometimes you go out and Nigerians are being looked at, somehow as if they are fraudsters, as if everyone in Nigeria is the same. It's as a result of all these little happenings coming from the top. It's so appalling and it's so painful that most of these things happens from the top where it is not supposed to happen at all. All right, let's add our voice to the conversation. Antonia, what do you think about this? How do you feel? Let me ask you, you are a Nigerian. How do you feel about all this drama? I call it a drama. Yeah. Permit me to use that word. This sounds like a drama to me. So what do you think about this drama?
Seeing that leaked memo, the first thought that came to my mind was, how did this get out? How did it get out? Because these documents are what they call classified documents. These are documents that a third eye, if I do say so, should not see. It's just exchange between the ministries. It's confidential. So how did it get out to the public? So apparently this is a scanned copy that someone put out. What was the intention? What was the motive? Was it to shame the Nigerian government? Was it to put Nigeria in a bad light? Yes, we know there are some Nigerians that have done things in the past that put the nation in a negative light. But there are also Nigerians that do make positive impact, and we hear of their names every time. But it seems the more positive impact Nigeria makes does not balance the bad parts. So what could have been the intention of the person that leaked this document? It's so sad to see this. And now looking at Qatar backtracking and saying, the president can come to hold the business forum on the 2nd and 3rd of March. What conversations could probably have transpired? What agreement was reached during the course of what could have, because they gave their reasons. They stated that some of their top officials would not be around. Could it be that they cancelled the earlier schedule? Could it be that they with resolutions? Because it wasn't clearly stated in this information. It was not clearly stated.
All right, thank you very much, Antonia. Let's talk to you now, Christopher. There's been an apology.
Yeah.
Qatar have apologized. All right. And they said...
Did they apologize?
No.
Or they gave us a second chance?
At the first instance, they apologized to Nigerians that they wouldn't be able to hold this summit.
Exactly.
Because there was no proper agreement signed. All right. That due to the reasons such as the fact that no agreement was signed between Qatar and the federal government of Nigeria, then that the Qatari Minister of Commerce and Industry will be traveling. If the Minister of Industry is traveling on the said date,
second and
so
third.
Who would you be talking to? And all of this, now they are retracting. So what do you think? Is this some form of drama? Have the Nigerian people gone to beg and say, hey, please don't shame us, don't shame us? What has really happened? What has changed?
Well, luckily enough, towards the end of last year, I did a course on international protocol. And in international protocol, we'll be looking at maybe 3 to 4 items. One is diplomatic formality, precedence, and etiquette. Now, let me tell you why the Qatari withdrew their earlier stance. It was based on diplomatic etiquette. There is a way you have to welcome your guest. You also make him feel comfortable within your jurisdiction. So since the president of the Federal Republic has already given his consent that he will be attending the summit, they felt, okay, since he'll be coming, there is no need for us to now shame him by not hosting him at that in that bilateral discussion. So I am sure that was the reason why they had to think towards that direction. But again, let us look at it this way. They also said they do not have a business discussion whatsoever with the Nigerian government. So on what ground did the Did the Ministry of Foreign Affairs sent to Qatar the memo for them to host the president at the sideline of the summit? So see, let us be let the country be careful, or let those managing the affairs of the country be careful, so they don't put us out there in a negative line, because there are precedents to do things in the within the international community. There are also diplomatic way of going through or having functions done at the international level. So if they are not aware of the proceedings, I think it is right time for them to go back to sit down to think about all these processes before putting us out there to be laughed at.
All right, thank you very much, Christopher. Thank you, Antonia, for adding your voice to the conversation. I think one thing that I would want to say to the federal government of Nigeria is how conducive is the Nigerian space for business? All right, businesses are moving out, and you're going to discuss business with Qatar. Would they be able to come invest in this kind of economy? That should be one of the things we look at. And the president, of course, is going to be traveling with some ministers and other persons, and money is going to be spent, and we are looking for money. People are hungry in Nigeria. So there are things that we should actually take into cognizance before certain decisions are being made. This is going to be the size of today's big story on Outnumbered. And I want to say you can drop your comment at the comment section. Just go on YouTube, like the channel, subscribe to it, put on the notification button so that you can be part of everything happening on Oweleke TV. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and thank you very much, Antonia, for adding your voice to the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christopher, for adding your voice to the conversation. Pleasure. And this is going to be the size once again. Bye-bye for now, and have a beautiful day.